the equation when I have the graph. Okay? So we're going to go through 3 graphs that I want you to put on your paper. Okay? And then we're going to talk about how to find the equation from them. And we're going to put them in factored form or root form. Okay? Can we close the door, please, Bree or Michelle? So I want to make sure you can see this to write this down. But right away, what do we think this is? Do we think it's a quadratic, a cubic, a quadric, to the 5th power, to the 6th power? What do we think?
A quadratic.
We think it's a quadratic. Good. We notice that it goes through roots, and it goes through a 0.22. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to do is write down the general way to do factored form. That's y equals a times x minus m times x minus n. Okay? Now I'm going to replace what I have. What are my 2 roots?
1 and -1.
Okay, so I'm going to say y equals a times x minus 1 times x plus 1. Okay. Now to find a, I'm going to plug in the point 2, 2. So y is going to be 2, and all of my x's are now 2. So far, so good?
Oh. Yeah.
Just plug it in, 0.22, 2 for x, 2 for y. All right, now I'm going to do this problem. Solve for a, yes?
What did you get the
Because I know right here crosses the x-axis at 1 and 8. Okay, so I'm going to solve now. I get 2 equals a. 2 minus 1 is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So 2 equals a times 3. So how do I get rid of that 3? Divide. And a equals 2/3. So let's write out the whole equation now. So I'm going to write y equals what? 2/3 times,
X minus 1 plus x plus 1.
that's it. So from the graph, we've used factored form and made an equation. So I get my ones from my 2 roots right here. Okay? Now we're going to try it with another one. All right? So right here, I'm going to ask you some questions while you're copying this down. Make sure you see those numbers. In just a second. Okay. What kind of equation do you think this is? Do you think it's a quadratic, a cubic, a quadric, something to the 5th power, something to the 6th power? What do we think?
It's to an odd number.
It's to an odd number. How many roots do you think it hits?
4,
3. So that would mean it would probably be a cubic. Okay. So we know we're going to have 3 x's. Okay. I am going to, while you're copying this down, just write down the general form. So I'm just going to say y equals a times x minus m times x minus n times x minus z. Okay. Okay. My next step is I'm going to plug in what my roots are. I don't know what y is yet. I'm not going to do a yet. I'm going to do x plus 4 times x minus 3 times x minus 7. Does it really matter what order I put those in?
No.
Hunter, did you get the final answer for the previous one? Okay, once I have the roots, what am I going to do next? plug in a point. I'm going to plug in 0, 3. So I'm going to say 3 equals A times 0 plus 4 times 0 minus 3 times 0 minus 7. So far, so good? So I'm going to get 3 equals A times 4 times negative 3 times negative 7. And what is that? What is 4 times negative 3 times negative 7? 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, right? Negative 12 times negative 7 is the 84? 84A. So what do I do next? Good. It doesn't matter that it's a really funky fraction. That's okay. We're going to rewrite it as y equals 3 over 84 times x plus 4 times x minus 3 times x minus 7. Feel okay about this so far?
Sure.
Yes, Allison?
I don't know if like the whole problem is negative.
Oh, that's a really great question. So when we have something that is an even power, like x squared, x to the 4th, x to the 6th, your two ends will point upwards for positive and downwards for negative, right? Now, if we have an odd one, it starts off low and goes up. Okay, for positive, and it'd be the opposite way for negative.
So it's like if it's odd, it goes.
Starts low, if we look from the left to the right, starts low, gets higher. All right, you ready for the next one?
No, because I know it's getting harder.
Okay, here we go. You have to be careful. I put some stuff in there.
That is a 0 by the negative 5.
That's a 0, negative 3 right there.
No.
That's a negative 5. That's just a point.
I did this piece of paper.
Okay. Before I get started, I've got to figure out how many roots there are. How many roots would there be at negative 5? Abby. How many roots would there be at negative 5?
2.
Try again.
1.
3. It's a squiggle.
Why?
How many roots are there at 2?
Oh. 2.
2, right? And there's just 1 at 6.
Oh.
Okay? So I have y equals a times x plus 5 cubed, right? Times x minus 2 squared times x minus 6. Does that make sense? With those squiggles and those bumps?
We're going to have one of each on the homework.
Okay. So what's my point? My point is 0, negative 3, right? So negative 3 equals a times 0 plus 5 cubed times 0 minus 2 squared times 0 minus 6. Yep. Okay, now I'm going to write this out in extra steps than I would write it out. But I just want you guys to see where everything comes from, okay? So I get negative 3 equals a times 5 to the 3rd power times negative 2 squared times negative 6, because I just subtracted or added 0 to everything. Then I get negative 3 equals a times 125 times 4 times negative 6. We okay so far? Are we missing something? Are we feeling okay about this?
Oh. I did the multiplication.
Okay. So I get negative 3 equals negative 3,000a, correct?
And down
Just because it's a big number doesn't mean it's harder. What do I do next? Divide by negative 3,000, and what am I going to get? So I'm going to get 1 over 1,000 equals A. Yes. 1 over 1,000. So I get y equals 1 over 1,000 times x plus 5 cubed times x minus 2 squared times x minus 6. And that's my final answer.
So did you just divide it by 3?
Yeah.
Ow!
Okay? Your homework is just like this.
Is this what a homework quiz is going to be on?
Yep.
Oh,
yes,
no.
Wait, is the homework quiz on all three of them?
That's just like the bottom one.
Homework quiz on all three of them?
Homework quiz will just be one.
Can you tell us which one?
No.
Why?
It's the
Homework
bottom
quizzes
one.
are supposed to be surprises.